and welcome back to Green-Eyed Starlet. If you are new here, hello, I am Brandy, and I am trying to create a life worth living through art, movement, and exploration. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the 7 things you should know before quitting your job. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then give this video a big thumbs up and keep watching. Now, this video is predominantly for people who have already decided to quit their job, people who are ready to make that jump and just want to be as prepared as possible. If you are going back and forth on whether or not you should quit your job, I highly suggest you go check out my last video where we talk about the top 10 signs that it might be time for you to quit your job, and then come back and watch this video. I would also like to say that I do not have all the answers. I do not claim to have all the answers. I just know from my personal experience that quitting your job is one of the scariest things you can possibly do, and these are 7 things that you should know before you quit your job. With all that being said, let's hop into today's video. So the first thing you should know before quitting your job is all the financial ins and outs. This means both your own finances and those that involve the company. Let's first start with the company's finances. If you're leaving your job after being a full-time employee, you need to look into things like your company's vesting period. Your vesting period is the amount of time it takes before things like your stock plan and your retirement plans are completely yours to take. Also take a look at your vacation hours. See what they are willing to pay you out of, and if they can't pay you out of some hours, I would suggest maybe taking some vacation hours to help you plan for your future, or you can take those hours, get them approved, and try to pick up shifts to get double the pay. This is also a great time to go to the doctor, go to the dentist, get your prescriptions filled while you still have that company's health insurance. This is just scratching the surface when it comes to company finances because every company is different. I highly suggest you going in there and making sure you completely understand your benefits and what everything means for yourself. Now let's move to your finances. You will need to plan out how much money you need as a cushion for when you quit your job. This is the amount of money that will allow you to live comfortably between jobs or while you're getting your new business venture up and running. I suggest having 3 months worth of rent plus enough money to pay 2 months worth of the rest of your bills. This is just my personal formula. If you have things like student loans or credit card debt, you may want to adjust those numbers accordingly, but you want to have enough money to feel comfortable. Another really important thing to do is create a budget for yourself. It may really suck to not be able to go out and get drinks with friends, but if you're really serious about quitting your job, you are going to have to make sacrifices. The second thing you should know before quitting your job is the emotional impact it can have. Leaving your job can be a big, huge, scary decision. You may be leaving for a new job, or you may be leaving to create your own business, but either way, no matter how excited you are for this new chapter of your life, you are going to be going through some emotional stages. One of the biggest things is you are going to have to be prepared to stand your ground and be proud of the decisions you've made. You cannot let people project their own fears and insecurities onto you. In a lot of ways, you have to be prepared to look like a quitter or a loser in other people's eyes, because at the end of the day, everyone is going to have an opinion, and they're not always going to be pleasant ones. You also have to be prepared to say goodbye to some of your work friends. And for me, when I left my job, it was kind of like leaving part of my family. But if those people are important to you, you will still make the time to see them and hang out with them. I personally am a crier, but no matter how much you might have hated a job or how excited you might be for the future, it is completely normal and okay if you cry or get very emotional on your last day. That is normal. The third thing you should know before quitting your job is the importance of time. I do not recommend that anybody go out tomorrow and quit their job right on the spot. You have to be smart with your time. Unfortunately, this might mean that it might take you a month, 6 months, even a year to actually quit your job from the time that you decide to. You want to give yourself enough time to save up that money, make the proper arrangements, maybe even lock down that next job. I personally went back and forth for almost a year and a half. And part of that was because I wasn't emotionally prepared, but the other part of that was because I didn't take the time to plan it out. Once I had firmly made my decision to leave, it took me about 5 months to make everything work out perfectly. It is also important to remember that when you decide to quit your job, it is time to hustle. You gotta start working double time because your personal time now becomes that time where you're applying for new jobs, going on interviews, creating your new business. It is not at all time to sit back and relax. You've got to work harder and smarter towards your goals than you ever have before. The fourth thing that you should know before you quit your job is that there are going to be problems. You are going to run into problems. That is just kind of a fact of life, but it can also lead to a lot of anxiety when many things are already unknown. I really encourage you to do something that I call troubleshooting. Sit down and make a list of all the things that you can possibly think of that might go wrong, and then begin brainstorming solutions to each problem. This is important when leaving your job because when you inevitably run into these problems, it could possibly postpone your leaving, and that might leave you feeling discouraged and upset. Be proactive and think more about the solutions and less about the problems, and hopefully this will make your transition a little smoother. The fifth thing you should know before quitting your job is how much commitment it will take. You have got to work for it and be committed to yourself and your plan. And honestly, you have to be committed to your current job as well. Do not be that person who decides that they want to quit and then stops putting in any effort whatsoever. Like, you do not want your last impression of you to be that you are lazy or incompetent. This is the time you have to be really disciplined and committed to your goals. The sixth thing you should know before quitting your job is the importance of community. Once you have fully decided to quit your job, once you've put in the time and commitment towards your goals and this new journey, I think it is really important to share that with the world, especially the social circles that you run in. Why? Because these are the people who can help you the most in a time like this. Whether you're wanting to move to a new business or start your own, these people are going to be the people who can help you network or may even be part of your clientele. For me personally, when I finally shared that I had left my job, I had a slew of people reaching out to me with job offerings. It can be hard to reach out and share this information with people, but I have found that if people can help, they usually will. And it is important to know that you don't have to do this all on your own. Now, before we get into the last and, in my opinion, most important thing you should know before quitting your job, I would just like to say that if you've been watching this video and you're thinking about quitting your job and you're leaning more towards the self-employment side, then I highly suggest that you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because next Saturday I will be posting a video on the pros and cons of self-employment. And now for the seventh thing, the most important thing in my opinion that you should know before quitting your job is knowing your why. Why do you want to quit your job? Why do you want to change directions? Why do you want to go after this new goal or dream or endeavor? Why? You have got to know your why, and if you don't know your why, or if it's not strong enough, then you're most likely going to fail. And I'm not trying to say this to scare you, I promise I'm not, but it's just a fact that people who don't really know why they're working towards something, or their why is not strong enough, are going to be less willing to put in the work and effort that it takes to get to that goal. So please know your why. Know why you're working for this. Is it you? Is it your family? Is it something else? Know your why. Okay, my little sparrows, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know it was kind of long, but honestly I could go on and on about this topic. There's just so much more we could talk about, and I only really scratched the surface of everything we talked about. So if you guys have any more questions, please leave it in a comment down below and I will try to answer it as best I can. As always, I love you guys so much. I hope you have a great day, a great week, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye!